All right, good morning, everyone, again. Round two here. So on this project, we were looking at the effects of smart growth on vehicle models of travel and also greenhouse gas emissions, and some of the co-benefits of reducing those. I want to shout out our VTrans champion on this one with Matthew Arancio, and the other investigators working with me, Ted Mansfield, who was with RSG, is now with Streetlight, John Slason, his colleague at RSG, myself, Dave Saladino at VHB, and Alexis Copeland, who helped us with a lot of the mapping. So really the overarching hypothesis of this work was that compact mixed-use development patterns generate less VMT and greenhouse gas emissions than more dispersed patterns. And we really wanted to test this theory in the Vermont context, where there's lots of rural area, and it's sort of interspersed with these great town centers and downtowns. And so really testing this hypothesis, we were looking at quantifying both the opportunity for VMT and greenhouse gas emissions reductions, and the co-benefits that might come along with those reductions. Very high-level look at our methodology on this slide and the next. We conducted a literature review that really informed us compiling built environment and socioeconomic variables into a database, and resolving those in a hex grid pattern across the state at sort of the neighborhood scale. Then looking at collecting passively collected location-based services data to inform VMT estimates, and using that trip making from the passively collected big data to create VMT estimates and a VMT model for the state. So we took those built environment and socioeconomic variables and the weighted device weekly trip making that we pulled from the location-based service data, and adjusted VMT estimates. We put those together in that hex grid resolved geography across the state at that neighborhood scale, and created a model where we could predict VMT based on those built environment and socioeconomic variables. Lots more detail on the poster. Come visit me and we can talk in length about all the pieces here. But then we use that model to inform future scenarios. And so really looking forward to the sort of realistic growth patterns that we might see in Vermont, and looking at both dispersed and smart growth strategies to distribute that growth across the state, and into those sort of neighborhood hex grids across the state. We compiled all that into a dashboard tool. That tool is available. Folks can go sort of interact with all the variables and the data and the scenarios on the back end, and check it out and sort of see what could happen in different future scenarios. And just a couple of takeaways here at the high level, but again, happy to speak at length during the poster session on all of these. Smart growth contributes to the solution. We found that with the most effective scenarios, we're talking about a 15% annual contribution to the reduction that we need to meet the Global Warming Solutions Act targets. Concentrate growth by mimicking low VMT places. So that most effective scenario really emulated prototype communities that are already here in Vermont in terms of their smart growth strategies. So looking at that as sort of a best practice to utilize smart growth strategies throughout the state. Benefits reach beyond VMT and greenhouse gas emission reductions. So we found co-benefits in safety, offsetting an avoided traffic death per year and 30 avoided traffic injuries per year, reduced physical inactivity mortality, so saving 4 lives annually with that most effective strategy, and reduced maintenance costs, so up to $1.5 million in reduced maintenance costs with that reduction in VMT and greenhouse gas emissions. And case study communities tell more of the story. We dug into a couple of case study communities, and that really illuminated some of the takeaways, particularly around the balance between residential growth and job growth, looking to the good bones in Vermont as a foundation for smart growth strategies into the future, and the proximity of neighboring towns and how that really changes our patterns with VMT. And I think that is it for the quick hits, but come visit my poster and we can talk more about it.